Well, we love the summertime and to be outside, but we don't want to end up in the emergency room. So joining us today from Mercy Health St. Rita's, he's the trauma program manager, Colin Worthington, to tell us about some tips about how to keep safe during the summer. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so summer just started. We've had this big heat wave. So what kind of things do you typically see, in the summertime in the ER and people making trips to the doctor?
Yeah, so in the summer, we really see an increase in the number of motor vehicle accidents, burns, heat exhaustion, and accidental drownings, and even people with incidental injuries from fireworks, unfortunately. And when you look at why most of those injuries are occurring, really it's from preventable reasons. So people are just making riskier choices.
Sometimes do you find that people wait too long, like, oh, I got burned, by that firecracker or something like that, and they don't come to the doctor or the ER right away?
Yeah, sometimes, when it's an injury that you just made a mistake, maybe it's embarrassing, people tend to avoid the emergency department for a little while, and unfortunately that can make things worse.
All right, so let's talk about some of these areas that we get ourselves in trouble. What about sunburns, and remember the sunscreen and things, right? Because it can get a severe burn.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to sunburns and even heat exposure, my recommendation would be first and foremost, just to avoid any exposure. If you don't have to be out, avoid it. And if you do have to be out, try to be out in the early morning hours, maybe the late afternoon when it's a little bit cooler. And if you're out and about, make sure you're staying hydrated, avoiding caffeine, alcohol, wearing loose-fitting clothing, and clothing that's a little bit lighter in color.
All right, very good. So how do you stay safe? Some tips for the pool, because everyone wants to keep cool and, get the water.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really more so for parents. And as a parent myself, some of the tips that I try to follow are, if I'm going to be around an open body of water with my son, we make sure he has a life jacket. And one thing that a lot of people don't really think about is even the color of your swimsuit can matter. So lighter color swimsuits are a little bit easier to spot underwater. So avoid colors like dark browns, grays, or even blacks. If your kid happens to go underwater, they're going to be a little bit more difficult to spot. But first and foremost there, I would say supervision is key.
Well, and sometimes you're like, well, my kid, they had a swim lesson, so they'll be all right. They have the floaties on. But you still need to keep your eyes on them anyway? Yeah,
I actually used to be a swim instructor myself, and what you find with children taking swim lessons is they get really comfortable around the water. And sometimes younger kids overestimate their capabilities, so again, even if they've been through those swim lessons, as valuable as they are, make sure there's still that supervision.
All right, it's summertime, we like to grill, 4th of July, and all these holidays coming up, so be careful around grills and campfires, s'more season. Tell us some tips for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we see most frequently with our burn patients during the summertime, it's people using stuff like gasoline, lighter fluid on open flames. What a lot of people maybe don't realize is that gasoline is not just a liquid, but it creates an invisible vapor that when you ignite it can kind of explode in your face or expand outward from that fire. So really avoid gasoline if you can. If you're going to be using your grill, make sure you keep it clean. The grease trap at the bottom of the grill tends to catch on fire if that overflows. So make sure you're cleaning that. And if you do have a fire extinguisher, keep it close by. Make sure it's a class A, B, C fire extinguisher. Those are helpful for grease fires.
Okay. What about campfires? I mean, just stay away. You want to get close,
Yeah.
So just be careful with that.
Yeah, keep a safe distance. Again, supervision, especially of the young ones as they're around the fire, and just playing it smart that way.
All right. So I assume Mercy Health St. Rita's, you guys are prepared for this kind of season, that, you guys are the place to go when something happens?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether or not you need urgent care assistance, we have several urgent care facilities in the community, whether that's East Side, West Side, or Delphus. But we also have our emergency department here in Lima and a freestanding ED out in Putnam County. But we have a team of trauma surgeons available 24/7 that are highly experienced and skilled. So.
All right. You gave us tips, but sometimes things happen, right? So we know that we can go to get the doctor's help too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here for you.
Very good. Getting us through the summertime safely. Thanks for coming today.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, don't go away. Noon Edition continues in a moment.